Hello, delegators. Welcome to another live stream with Titan Node, the #1 place to delegate your stake. Today, we're going to be doing a live stream about the recent all-time highs about Livepeer and the topic of this video, which is, should I buy Livepeer? In this video, we're going to be going through 4 topics. Topic number 1 is just current price and all-time highs. Topic number 2 is going to be going through the real benefits of owning Livepeer and the LPT token. Topic number 3 is going to be what Livepeer might look like in the future. And topic number 4 is going to be all about timeline and how early are we into this Web3 movement and the LPT token itself. So this is a bit of a Q&A, so if you have any questions, feel free to drop into the comments and we'll get started. I also have maybe some insight into what's causing the recent rise in price. And I will get into that about halfway through this live stream and give you my take on what might be causing this. Like always, though, it's usually like a combination of things causing the rise. But I have some ideas. So let's just jump right into it, and we will do the regular beginning of these videos, which is just talking about the latest and greatest. So I'll put myself down in the bottom corner here, about that big, sure. And let's hop right into the current price. So Livepeer is sitting at $77. So unless you've been living under a rock or haven't seen this in the last 24 hours, Livepeer has just gone berserk. So in the last day, let's see, it was about $41 and we topped out at about 100. And just in the last 7 days here, we are, seeing it hockey stick, right? We were at $29. I did a live stream about, 2 weeks ago, where we got all excited because it went from $20 to $35. Now we're seeing the excitement of that $20, $25 to $100 in a matter of 1 day. If we head over to Binance, we can see that this chart here, it did actually wick right up to $101, making it Livepeer's all-time high in all of history, right? So if we even go back to 2017, it wasn't quite launched by 2017, the token wasn't. Actually, the Livepeer token didn't come out till December of 2018, so it was about $7 when it first launched, right? So if you bought it when it first launched during the ICO and followed it during this entire downtrend for the following 4 years, you would now still be up 10x, right? So you'd be doing quite well even if you bought the ICO. Plus, not to mention all the staking rewards, all the ETH rewards you get for owning a utility token like Livepeer, right? So Livepeer currently seeing huge rise in popularity, all the volume pretty much coming from what looks like Binance. Coinbase is definitely up there with volume, but Binance is taking the lead. It's got 31% and then the other 11%. So Binance is making up about 50% of the volume, followed by Coinbase. And now Coinbase, the other day, I think yesterday I was following it, it actually was above Binance. So, but for the most part, Binance is causing a lot of the volume to come in, which is interesting because Binance has only listed Livepeer for the last couple of months. I think they listed it in the summer. So it's been maybe 3-4 months they've been on there, and now we're starting to see that huge rise in price, which is almost parabolic. This happened within 24 hours, maybe 36 hours. It just green candled all the way up. So very, very interesting. The next thing I'll talk about is quickly just the Web3 index. Obviously, Livepeer is a protocol all about Web3. If you don't know much about Livepeer, it is the decentralized video infrastructure of the Web3 ecosystem, right? So Livepeer is just trucking along. It's doing the same, which is really nice when it comes to revenue. So the price is increasing a lot, but the revenue is staying quite nicely static, right? So we got $40,000 in the last 30 days, and then 116 in the last 90, right? So still that number 2 spot for revenue, And in my last video, if you watched my prediction on 200 LPT, which I still believe is very possible, you are looking at Livepeer doing the same revenue, same kind of situation, but now the market cap has increased. So last time we talked, the market cap was 479 million. Now we're at 1.6 billion, right? Which, funny enough, is exactly that Aweave amount that we talked about in the last video, right? So definitely a pump up in volume, in price, but yet revenue and things have stayed the same roughly. On the Livepeer Explorer, you can see that again, the amounts of minutes transcoded it's like flattened off, which is an indication. It could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how you look at it. The good thing is that there's steady transcoding work, which means the adoption that Livepeer is getting for its transcoding work is consistent, which is what you want, at least if you're going to be running a protocol based on revenue, right? If it's going down, then there might be a problem with its adoption. And if it's going straight up, well, then obviously there's clear adoption. So sideways is just an indication that the ones that are landing on Livepeer using the transcoding service for the back end, such as myself with this video, they're staying with it, right? They're seeing the benefit of it. So yeah, that's really interesting. The fee volumes obviously change a little bit. This is likely due to the price of ETH moving around, as well as exploring with different fees that customers pay for Livepeer, right? And then the participation rate, which doesn't surprise me at all. So Live is below 50%. So Livepeer has a participation schedule, or I guess target of 50%. And if it's under 50%, then the inflationary rewards increase as you stake your tokens. And if it's over 50%, it starts to decrease. So with the rise in price, especially wicking up to $101, you're going to see participation start to drop off, because people are just going to be unstaking and probably moving their tokens to an exchange. And then people buying on an exchange, it's going to take them a while to either sell again because they're either speculating, or it's going to take them a while for them to migrate over to the Livepeer Explorer, stake their tokens, and become bonded, right? So this might tick up, as the price declines or levels off a bit. You might see the participation rate start to climb again to aim for that 50%. So, that's an indication that Livepeer delegators that are delegated to Livepeer are pretty, the price tripled, like quadrupled in a couple of hours, and the participation rate is almost the same. So that's an indication that at least half the network that's bonded is not interested in unstaking and dumping their tokens, which brings me into tokenomics, but I'll bring that up a bit later. I just want to quickly see who's in chat here. We got me saying hey. We got Crypto Monero. Hello. Will it be possible to use monetize the video we make? Upload video and create live streaming. Will it be possible? Yes, it will. That's the whole backbone of Web3 infrastructure for Livepeer. It's going to be the ability to live stream your video onto any platform, especially if it's decentralized in the Web3, and you'll be able to use all types of monetary or monetization techniques. So we're going to continue on though, because we're going to keep talking about this all-time price, this high. We got the unbonding schedule, right? If you've seen this before, I'll move it up a bit here, because I think last time I was blocking it with my camera. So I will move me to this side, and we'll see how that, oh man, I'm all over the place. Let's give that a try. We have this unbonding schedule here, which is interesting because we have big whales here unbonding. The last time we saw large amounts of unbonding, 1.1 million unbonded, right, was in January 19th. I'm just going to maximize this again. January 19th, we saw 1.1 million unbonded. So where's that? January 19th. And guess what happened? That was right there, $1.90. 7 days later, they were available for unbonding, and that would have been the 26th, and it's $4.45. So what's interesting is, how does that person know that $1.9 to unstake 1.1 million if they knew that 7 days later that they could unbond, right? So this happens a couple of times. What you might see if you look at historical unbonding schedules, again here on the 18th of March, 18th 03 of 18, we can see here again, right as it's rising, well, already about halfway up that $16 mark. 7 days later, you'd be about the 24th, and we're getting pretty high in price, right? So what is an indication of it topping out? Maybe the unbonding schedule of whales. But as you can see lately here, maybe I'll move this back over here because it's hard for you guys to see. If I move it right to there, I think the latest the unbonding has not been happening. Like, there's been 9,000, 2,000, not on any of these million. I mean, these are pretty large. Like 310,000 LPT is quite a large bag. Like, that's huge. But in recent here, there hasn't been any unbonding. And then you see here, this is 68,000 unbonded just as it's rising up. Okay, so is that unbonding because of the price? Most likely. In fact, I think I know who this delegator is. This is actually a delegator that came from Titan Node. 40,000 stake. 40,000 stake this delegator had, and this person I had talked with a few times in Telegram, and as soon as the price went up, he unstaked, and he's probably waiting 7 days to sell out his tokens. So shout out to him if he is. If you are watching this and you are the delegator with 40,000 stake to Titan Node, I will tell you that I don't think now is a good time to sell. I think Livepeer has a long way to go, and 7 days from now, you're going to be sitting probably around the level we're at now, and then you're going to see another jump up in price, maybe in December, and we're going to be hitting that $200 mark, right? So I think if you're unbonding now, that's fine, but I don't know if I'd be selling right away, I still think LPT has a long way to go up. On CoinMarketCap, it is number 85, right? So if we scroll all the way down on CoinMarketCap, we did enter the top 100. We've been here once before. Back in May, we hit number like 95, maybe 98 or something. We were there for a brief time. I thought once we hit, the top 100, we would stay there, and that would be the big bullish news for Livepeer. We're in the top 100, and we would stay there and continue to rise. Well, as other protocols come in, even like Solana and these things, they all bump down all the 100. So we got back down to about 135. So we were down on the second page for a while, and then now we're bumped right back up to 85 in a matter of a day, right? So I think that'll happen again in the future, and I think it will even bump Livepeer up to something like where the graph is, right? So if we look at the graph, I use the graph as a comparison just because I think it's in a very similar ecosystem. The graph is sitting at 39, right? So do I think Livepeer can hit 39? I do. I believe it can, which is a $5.8 billion market cap currently. So I think it can get there. Is it going to get there in this little wick up to 100? Probably not. There'll be some consolidation. It'll probably come back down a little bit. We will hit some resistance, especially if we look at technical analysis. I don't do any technical analysis. So if you guys want to check that out, I would go find another channel for TA. But to me, you'll probably see some consolidation here, and then you're going to probably see another pump in price. So as for the unbonding, not much unbonding happening. Okay, interesting. As for adoption, again, this is the Livepeer, this is the Titan Node panel for the back end. You're not going to see this anywhere else. In Canada, we got 11 sessions, Netherlands 4, and USA 4. Probably refresh this just to see where we're at. Again, but it depends on your time of day. We can see that the amount of transcoding is happening is pretty consistent, and things are looking steady, very steady for the back end. Okay, so that pretty much covers the current price and the all-time high. The next thing is going to be the real benefits of owning Livepeer. Okay, so things like profits, governance, good and fair tokenomics. So I want to cover those three things real quick. Livepeer, unlike a lot of other protocols, is not just a governance token. There's lots of governance tokens out there. There's something like Uniswap, where you don't really benefit from owning Uniswap other than the fact you get a governance token. There's quite a few of these governance tokens. A lot of exchanges and dexes have them, right? So like DYDX and 0x and 1inch. These are all governance tokens. And the idea, I guess, is that you get a vote on the protocol. But where's the actual value being brought in to cause Uniswap to have a $16.7 billion market cap, right? I still haven't figured that out personally. I'm sure there's other people out there that can make a good justification for it. But one of the things about Livepeer is that not only is it a governance token, which gives it that value that I guess people can see, but for me, the value of this token comes from the profits, right? I've explained this in some other videos, but this idea of you get ETH fees for being a delegator as well as LPT, inflationary LPT tokens, right? So there's two, unlike most protocols, Livepeer has actually two cuts. They have a reward cut and a fee cut. And so as your orchestrator is transcoding work, it's sharing not only inflationary LPT, which is like your voting token, but it's also then getting you ETH fees for doing the actual work for the actual customers, right? So there's actual profit related to this token. And I think from an individual standpoint, retail investors, I think they just don't really care about the revenue, because for them it's just nominal. It doesn't mean much. They're not going to be holding on for very long, and they have such small bags. Like, you know, if you're a retail investor with $1,000 and you get a piece of an ETH fee over a year, you know, maybe that's interesting to you. But chances are, if you got $1,000 in one of these small cap tokens, you're looking for exponential growth and for speculation, right? And so, you know, they probably don't look at this ETH fee as being really that important. But if you're an institutional investor and you've got $10 million, $20 million to invest, you're not just looking for that speculative token, because there's lots of risk, and institutions want to avoid risk at almost all costs while also making good decisions, right? Like, institutions are probably not the ones buying your Dogecoins and your Shiba Inus, right? So they're going to be looking at this going, hey, look, we can actually earn some fees and justify the growth of the network for these tokens. So it's not only governance, but it's profits, right? So you have governance and profits, very similar to, you guessed it, a stock, right? Because what does a stock give you? Now, I've had some arguments over this. People say that Livepeer is nothing like a stock. I mean, stocks give you what? Governance, it gives you voting rights, and it gives you profit. Well, Livepeer tokens give you governance and it gives you profit, right? Very similar. And then on top of all that, to give it a nice big cherry on top, you have fair tokenomic distribution of Livepeer, right? So we had the Merkle mine come out in 2017 or 18, which meant anyone with more than one Ethereum in their wallet automatically got airdropped Livepeer. You had to claim it, and then all the Livepeer are minted off day one. It's the fairest possible drop that you could do, because everybody gets the opportunity to claim their Livepeer tokens, and it puts all of them into circulation so that there's no like unbalanced amount of Livepeer in circulation, and there's not a treasury that's about to dump billions of dollars worth of tokens onto the market, crash the price, and, you know, run off with the money potentially, right? So Livepeer has fair and good tokenomics to go with it. So I think that's really interesting. I'll hop back into the Smooth streaming. Okay. I'll hop back into this these Q&As real quick. Hello. Hey, Solar Farm. Nice to see you. E Brownie, nice to see you. E Brownie says, can you make a video on how to mine using GPU? A lot of us newbies are eager but don't know where to start. E Brownie, I actually have great news for you. You can definitely check out the Titan node tutorial on how to start up an Orchestrator node. It's actually right there in the Orchestrator how-to section for Titan node. So definitely check out that tutorial. I have 4 parts to it that gets you right down to the point where you launch your node and are profitably video mining. So I have made a tutorial for that. I would check it out. Me, question, what do you think about Theta and how do you think it compares with Livepeer? Why should someone choose Livepeer over Theta? Great, good question. Me, I'm going to answer that. Watch this. Okay, so Theta is actually quite a large market cap. Theta is here. For those of you who don't know Theta, you're right, 7.9 billion market cap. Theta is a little more developed than Livepeer at this point, but they took a different route. Livepeer is all about transcoding and GPU mining or video mining, AI recognition, fast and slow verifications with image recognition, these kinds of things. Theta went the content delivery network first. Okay, so they didn't go with the transcoding, they went with the video content delivery, which means you have these what's called edge nodes, and the content gets delivered from your computer to your friend's computer to your other friend's computer, and so therefore it takes the stress off of all the centralized servers from having to broadcast all the information to every viewer. And it's a good idea. I like the idea of the edge node. Theta solves a different problem first than Livepeer, so we want to first start by making that distinction. The second thing Theta is, it's partnered with large privately or public companies, I guess, like Gatorade and things. And what you have to understand about Theta is it's not really a part of the Web3 ecosystem. It's not really even a part of the decentralized kind of thesis, if you will. Theta, first of all, is its own blockchain, so it's not on Ethereum, which no problem with that, although blockchains can be hard to secure without many nodes securing the network. But Theta is patented. Okay, I want you to think about that for a sec. Theta is a patented technology, and I believe it's patented into the United States. So what you have is a blockchain that's supposed to be decentralized, patented, partnered with large corporations that are pushing it under their own brand name. That to me doesn't sound really decentralized, right? It sounds like it's what was that? The Lemonade coin, right? Where you just put the word blockchain or crypto in front of it, and now people buy it because it's on the stock market and it has the word crypto or blockchain in it, right? Just like the bubble of 2000, this stock market, right? Anyone put a .com into the name of the company and it went up in value, right? So Theta doesn't even seem to be decentralized. Now they do have a working protocol. It is operational. They do have customers. So does Livepeer. But Theta, just in my opinion, doesn't really fit into the Web3 stack. I think it's just, Charles Hoskinson of ADA, he will not look at a white paper that has a patent in it because it just goes against the ethos of the entire problem we were trying to solve, right? So Theta's good. 7.9 billion, clearly people like it. It is in use. They solve a different problem than Livepeer, so they're not quite the same. And they're their own blockchain with patents. So I just, to me, they're not the same thing really in the slightest. Doesn't mean that they can't maybe use each other or work with each other in the future, right? I'm not against Theta, but I just think Livepeer solves a different problem and it does it in a more elegant and proper way. That's so. But hey, look at me. I'm biased, right? Then again, I own both. So, but Livepeer to me is just more asymmetric upside if it comes to price, because that's what we're talking about today, price. And yeah, not to mention it's I mean, yeah, there you go. That's my opinion on Theta. Hope that was sufficient for you. Me trying to take profits from LPT, ETH gas. Think again, buddy. Yeah, well, unfortunately, if you don't have much in LPT to begin with, the ETH gas will definitely eat you up. Definitely. B79, 0xB79, hello. Thanks for joining us at B79. He is an orchestrator with Livepeer and doing some amazing work. So if you want to check out an orchestrator, please check out B79, Solar Farm. I think Me is in here. I think he's an orchestrator as well. So, okay, let's continue on as we do some Q&A and move through these. So we talked about the current price and all-time highs and, you know, how it went crazy. We talked about the real benefits of owning Livepeer. Let's look at what might look like the Livepeer future. So this is some new stuff that I've come up with. If you're an orchestrator, you might learn something. If you're new to Livepeer, this might be over your head, but this is going to go into some technical things. But also, I'm going to tell you exactly why I think Livepeer did the pump it did, and it's a part of this. So I'll share that. Okay, here we go. So first of all, Livepeer. It does video transcoding. Again, if you just Google the top 10 best live streaming services, you're going to get things like Twitch. So if you're new to Livepeer, this is going to give you an idea of what platforms it kind of solves. Because people say, like, does it solve like what is Livepeer? Well, it's the back end for things like Twitch, right? Twitch does live streaming, so you need transcoding. YouTube Live, so not specifically YouTube itself, just because it's saved. It has to be live streaming for it to be utilized by Livepeer in a way, basically, as it is today. So you have YouTube Live, which is number 2, Facebook Live, which is number 3. Now those are some heavy hitters, and we know that those 3 are just huge, and they're not going away, right? Periscope. Funny enough, I don't think Periscope is around anymore. That Twitter decided to shut it down. I'm not sure why. It seemed actually quite popular, but. And then there's ones that I'm not too familiar with. IRIS, Ustream. I think I've seen Ustream before. Dacast, Livestream, Brightcove, and there is a lot of other streaming services in different countries and in different languages that I'm not familiar with. Like in China and India, they have different services, and they can be utilized by Livepeer as well. But so those are just some services that Livepeer could offer services to. I also want to quickly go over NFT minting. So Livepeer, I think, where was it? If we open up Twitter, livepeer.org, so the org behind it, it actually sponsored its first Livepeer or Livestream NFT event. Right? So here we go. So October was a groundbreaking month for Livepeer. Some noteworthy events. Made our first crypto company acquisition, Mist. I just released a video yesterday on interviewing the CTO of Mist. So Mist is now a part of Livepeer, and they're integrating their entire dev team into Livepeer. Really smart guys, by the way. It's really crazy. Co-hosted Collide, minting the world's first live video NFT. Guys, I want you to think about this for a sec, just for the future of Livepeer. I used to play a game called World of Warcraft. I don't know if any of you ever played World of Warcraft, but back in about 2003 or 2004, there was this dragon in World of Warcraft called Onyxia. Onyxia was the first big dragon to be released into this game. It came out, and almost nobody could kill it. Okay, you had to get 40 people all together on the internet with amazing stats, and you had to coordinate. And we called them guilds, and we spent months and months trying to kill Onyxia for the first time. When Onyxia was finally killed by the first group of people, they posted it on YouTube. The YouTube video now has, I think, something like 10 million views or 20 million views. And this is just specifically to a video game of people killing the first dragon in the game. And to this day, it's still kind of famed as like the original kill, the original, event that happened in World of Warcraft that was monumental, right? Imagine if that was posted as an NFT. Now, that would be worth something because it's a feat. It's a thing that was accomplished by a group of people. But imagine it was minted as an NFT with the original live content that makes it original. Because the problem is right now with minting NFTs is it's just pointing to a server somewhere where the JPEG is located, for instance. But like, how do you know you have ownership of it? Well, if you live stream it through Livepeer, it uses Aweave as the backend to save or Filecoin. It uses these to save the file. And then what happens is the NFT is minted and points directly to the original file that's in the decentralized saved network, and that is the original file. So that is a new way of minting. I think this is huge for video games, by the way. You know, that game-winning headshot, the first dragon kill, like all these events can be claimed as NFTs from live streaming and authentic because it's using Livepeer NFTs and file storage systems. So I think that's huge, and we just did our first. And then we sponsored ETH Global and ETH Online and some kind of things. Okay, so that covers just some of that stuff. But today I'm going to talk about why I think Livepeer pumped. Okay, as we're talking, you know, it's still kind of going up and down in price. Let's see here. Livepeer's at 74, so it's going up and down. It hit this 100. I just want to look at the timeline real quick. So one day ago, it was $42. And then it rose up to about 60 at around this 5 p.m. my time. I'm in New Zealand, so this is going to be different for everyone. But guess what happened at 9 p.m. What was it? No, it was it's 9 a.m. European time. Well, I'll tell you. The CEO of Nvidia did a keynote speech. And the keynote speech kicked off this event. And the event was this the GTC November 2021 keynote. It was like it's this weekend long thing. It's from November 8th to November 11th. And it's Nvidia doing this all out hands-on release of new products, new technologies, new everything, right? And if you don't know much about Livepeer only uses Nvidia GPUs for its backend, right? And so what you have is you have Nvidia coming out telling you all the interesting things they're doing with all the tech that they can do with Nvidia graphics cards. And Livepeer, being a highly connected network of GPUs, is now relevant to what Nvidia can do with its GPUs. Okay, so there's a bit of a piece here I took from last night's presentation. This is the CEO of Nvidia, and he's going to talk about, just quickly, real quick, one thing that I picked out of the whole speech. Obviously, it's an hour and 46 minutes long, so we're not going to sit here and watch it. If you want to watch it, go check it out. But I quickly want to go over just one spot where he talks about some of the advancements they're doing with Nvidia specifically, and how Livepeer, he didn't talk about Livepeer obviously, but Livepeer can do the exact same things Nvidia can do. So everything he's talking about here is relevant to what Nvidia can do. So I'm gonna play this. Hopefully it plays through the speakers. I'll put on my headset and mute my microphone, and we'll watch just like 3 minutes of it, and that will give you an idea of what I think was the reason for the pump in price. Because anyone that knows anything about Livepeer just knows that it's just GPUs connected on the back end, and Nvidia is now pushing their latest and greatest technology. So here, let me just pause this mic, and how do I do that? Yeah, let's pause this mic, and then we'll do it.
But when a solution to a worthwhile problem is within grasp, the investments will come. Look at the investments that are going into AI, robotics, self-driving cars. The signs are clear. Accelerated computing, doing AI at data center scale, will give a giant boost in simulation performance. How do we apply deep learning to science? Science obeys the laws of physics, Newton, Maxwell, the laws of thermodynamics, Ohm's law, Bernoulli's principle, the law of conservation of energy, to name a few. Researchers are creating AI models that learn physics and make predictions that obeys the laws of physics. The application of machine learning to improve physics simulation has been growing incredibly. Let me highlight just a couple that I know of. Karniadakis and the team at Brown described PIN, physics-informed neural networks. Lee Anandkumar, a team at Caltech and Nvidia, described FNO, Fourier Neuro Operator, that can learn to approximate any partial differential equation. The same team recently combined the benefits of PIN and FNO into Pinot, a universal function learner that obeys the laws of physics. Pinot can learn from a principled physics simulator or observed data. Once trained, it can emulate the principled physics models at extremely high speeds. And equally important, this model is highly parallelizable, and so can scale to very large systems to get a combined million X factor.
See, you hear that? The combined million X factor of combining the different data centers, which, funny enough, is Livepeer at its actual form, right? So here, let's watch like another minute. I don't know how long this goes on for specifically. If this is interesting to you, I'd go watch the whole thing. But this is literally 12 hours ago, right at the pump of this entire, I think when it was released, it was about, I don't know, maybe $46, and then it hit 100, right? So here, let's just keep watching a little bit more and see how it is.
Virtual screening is one of the major pillars of modern drug discovery. It involves finding a drug chemical that will bind to and inhibit the function of a protein in the pathway of a disease. The virtual screening process is a molecular dynamic simulation of the atomic forces between the chemical and the protein. The atomic forces of molecules are determined by its 3D structure. The 3D structure of a human protein, the long strands of amino acids, is revealed through X-ray crystallography and cryo-electron microscopy. Using this painstaking method, only 17% of the roughly 25,000 human proteins have been decoded. In the vast space of human disease, without the 3D structure of most human proteins, computer-aided drug discovery is limited. Just this year, the researchers of AlphaFold and RosettaNet taught their AIs to predict the 3D shape of proteins from just their amino acid sequences. Overnight, DeepMind decoded over 20,000 human proteins. The tedious process of decoding a protein is turbocharged by an AI model. There are hundreds of millions of animal, plant, and bacterial proteins that can now be decoded. Meanwhile,
okay, so what he's saying is they're taking these models, decoding them into the raw data, and then using algorithms, AI algorithms, to model, I guess, different proteins of the human body. That's what Livepeer does. Livepeer does decoding and encoding. That's all it does, right? Like currently. So what it does, if you don't know much about Livepeer, it takes the video, it takes what it sees, whatever you send it, decodes it into raw video format, and then re-encodes it into different bit rates, right? But while it's in the raw format, there's a whole bunch of like AI modeling you can do. And that's what he's talking about here. He's talking about the limited power. I'm going to take this headset off. He's talking about the limited power of like one GPU or one DXG data center that Livepeer or that Nvidia has. And he's saying it's scalable and you can use all these working processes to do these AI models. Well, Livepeer, if it has, what is it? Let me guess. How many ETH GPUs, how many GPUs are mining ETH right now, right? Arbitrarily spitting out random lottery tickets. Well, if you took all those GPUs, maybe 700,000 of them, put them onto a network like Livepeer, which is all about encoding and decoding and running AI, you can run AI image recognition stuff. That's already live with Livepeer, right? So there's image recognition through fast and slow and full verification. If you took that video, you could distribute it into the Livepeer network, and you don't have to pay giant data centers huge sums of money to do this type of work. you can use the distributed AI network, which is Livepeer, because everyone's connected and doing this. Not to mention, the nice thing about Livepeer is you get paid for each 2-second segment of the frames you've transcoded, right? So you're only paying for exactly what you send back. So if they don't send out the money to the transcoders for doing this AI work, they're not going to get paid. And that's all through ETH, which in itself is its own decentralized payment structure. So when Nvidia CEO comes out and talks about these types of things, by the way, Nvidia is a $500 billion market cap company, which is one of the largest in the world. If anyone had to question their level of like, where they are on the spectrum of things, anything you can do with Nvidia, you can do basically with Livepeer, because that's all Livepeer is a connected group of GPUs. Currently, we're just using Nvidia anyway, but there are these network of GPUs that can do AI tasks, right? So it's not just about transcoding small bit rates into large bit rates, but it's also this idea of AI image recognition, AI deep learning neural network software that can be run on these GPUs. And what was really interesting was the Mist server, the company that was acquired by Livepeer. They are looking at branching out and doing maybe different versions of the same transcoding software that runs on these GPUs, but is still compatible with the Livepeer network, so that it can handle different tasks rather than just transcoding or whatever. So you can have different software branches of the same protocol, because Livepeer, the Ethereum smart contract of Livepeer is just the governance token and the profit model. But what you can do with the GPUs is software. That's just software. And that's what this guy's talking about. It's just the software you can build out and do these types of tasks. But Livepeer and the Livepeer token itself is just governance and profits, right? Governance, profits, and tokenomics. And the tokenomics are there, the profits are there. Well, the profits will be coming as well as they add new services, and the governance is there, right? Like, even if you head back to the Explorer and look at governance, look at the voting. It's already a voting feature in Livepeer. You can create a poll and you can vote on LIPs, right? Livepeer improvement proposals, right? LIP 25, LIP 552. There's a new LIP coming out about the onboarding to layer 2 with Livepeer, right? So what he's talking about is next level, and Livepeer has the ability to jump on that, okay? So I think, in my opinion, this keynote speech with and it's happening right now. It's from November 8th to November 11th. Nvidia is doing a giant weekend press release, right? So, which, funny enough, correlates with the price, right? Correlates with this. So if this price, right, is correlated to these announcements, then we should be seeing some pretty bullish stuff coming out for the next 2 days, right? November 11th is when we should see the end of this one little bump up, right? So are we going to retest this $100? Maybe not. So I wanted to share that with you guys. Feel free to leave a link in the comment. Kudos to you. Let's see. Solar Farm says, kudos for having good sound on the Nvidia video. Creators will millions of users screw up audio when playing video all the time. Yes. Well, thanks. I wasn't sure if it was working very well, so I'm happy it did work well. And like the decentralized YouTube. Yes. Thank you for watching. KV expose all. Yeah. Thank you for watching. So, okay, Nvidia's coming out with this stuff, and it's happening the exact weekend that this pump is happening, right? That, I think, is why things are getting crazy. Now, Okay, so we have large corporation, Nvidia, doing a press release on all the latest updates using their cards. We have, like I said, good tokenomics, price, or profits, voting, right? Let's look at the institutional investors that are into Livepeer, because, I mean, are retail investors really doing this pump? Probably not. Telegram has been busy, but it hasn't been that busy. Like, Telegram is usually full of people just yelling, pump it up, right? And yet it's not. And these are huge volumes coming in, okay? So I quickly want to cover the two large institutions that are invested in Livepeer, which might be the ones buying this up. Because remember, institutions don't tell you they're buying it up until after they've bought it, right? Does that make sense? So the first one is Grayscale, right? So we hop over to Grayscale. We can see here that they have their Grayscale Trust, Livepeer Trust right here. So Grayscale Livepeer Trust. By the way, if you didn't know, Grayscale has an active trust for Livepeer, okay? And it's been doing quite well. They got 23 million under management, and it's been up 651% since inception. So they're going to be very happy. Their investors are going to be happy. They're going to be happy. And its inception date was, look at that, March 10th, 2021, right? So just this year, at the beginning of this year, they launched their trust, and they've been holding it since. Why wouldn't Livepeer continue to purchase more, right? If they have a trust for it and people are interested in it, why wouldn't they, right? They also have, Grayscale has their research and insights. You can actually go right through here and see that, an introduction to Livepeer. If you click that, you can see that they just talk about Livepeer briefly. But the key part, which is right on the Grayscale's website, which is probably what they believe, right? Livepeer is a decentralized video transcoding network that aims to enable the cost-effective, resilient, and censorship-resistant video streaming, which today consumes 80% of the internet bandwidth, right? So 80% of the bandwidth going over the internet is exactly what I'm doing right now, which is live streaming. I am live streaming you this, which requires tons of bandwidth, which is more than anything we've ever seen before, right? Web 1 was HTML. It was like, downloading a newspaper, right? And the web page would be 500 kilobytes, right? So not huge amounts of bandwidth. Web 2 is Facebook and these kinds of things where you're interacting. Maybe you're uploading videos, downloading, right? Mega upload, if you remember that website. These were P2P sharing. These were lots of interesting things happening, but they are not even scratching the surface when it comes to live video. It consumes 80% of the bandwidth, right? So Livepeer could be the back end to that type of transcoding work, right? And on top of that, Livepeer then gets to use all Nvidia's technology to do image AI recognition, deep neural network learning, image recognition, all the tools that you can do through software, right? So really interesting. Grayscale is into it, and they are large, by the way. They have one of the largest Bitcoin trusts in the world, right? So if you go to all products, I'm sure their Bitcoin one is here. It should be number one. And their basic attention token, good token, by the way. I like that one. The Bitcoin trusts, it's sitting at, I don't know, what do they got? 61 billion under management, something like that. I bet you it's more than that now. But anyway, Grayscale aside, that's one institution that could be doing up this buying, right? Assets under management, 42 billion. Okay. If they moved 1/100th of that into something like Livepeer, that would pump it up, right? By the way, the price is going up since we've been live streaming. Look at that. So it was at 73. I think it started at 75. We're probably back to where we were at the beginning of this live stream. The next one I want to quickly talk about is Multicoin Capital. This is another one that could be buying into Livepeer. I think they skipped on Livepeer on a couple of rounds earlier, but I believe they are into Livepeer. I'd have to double check that. But I want to quickly look at their Web3 stack. Okay. Now, if you haven't seen this before, Multicoin Capital has come up with this idea of what a Web3 stack would look like. Now, I think this is brilliant. I've actually bookmarked this page. I really like what they have here. This is a visualization of what a Web3 ecosystem would look like. So a decentralized internet from top to bottom, right? So right from end user management right here, right down to the decentralized last mile internet access, right? So right from the last mile of internet, right to the end user experience, all this in between can be decentralized. So let's start at the top, end user management, key management, right? So that's me as an individual. Then I'm gonna go through a dApp browser, I'm gonna go through a dApp front end, I'm gonna go through a query layer, right? And all these kinds of things. And then you have like this optional square right here. And in these off-chain services, but there's decentralized video transcoding in here. So decentralized video transcoding, they've identified as a piece of the web stack that it's a part of this, right? If we scroll down, they actually give examples of what protocols they think fits these squares. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Okay. Now, let's just start at the top. How does this look? So this says end user key management. Okay. I can see if I can zoom in some more just because it might be too big. Here we go. Let's see if this works. Here we go. Okay. Web3 stack. Sense. I need to manage my keys. Next, the dApp browser, Brave and MetaMask. Funny enough, I use Brave and MetaMask, right? MetaMask is how I interact with almost all Web3 protocols. Brave is like the best browser since sliced bread. It's amazing. You get paid BAT tokens for blocking everyone's tracking cookies and keeping you completely anonymous online. Not even sure how it's possible. It's amazing, right? If you don't own Brave or have it installed, you probably should. Okay, then you have this decentralized query layer, right? The graph. Funny enough, the graph is this mandatory line. It's a querying layer for getting data across on the blockchains, right? It's also scaled across different blockchains. But here we go. Oh, and then you have app plus data storage layer, right? Aweave, right? And you can see, oh, here it is. If it's got this little, you can barely see it, I bet, but if it's got this little flag, this little phoenix beside it, the symbol, it means that they have invested in it, right? So SIA, Filecoin, SIA, they haven't invested. Aweave, they have, because they have this little thing right here, okay? Beside the app and storage data, you have an optional box, right? Off-chain services. Here it is. Decentralized video transcoding, Livepeer. There it is. It's the only one for this category. There's no Theta. I don't see Theta there. Theta is centralized. It's not even a part of the Web3 ecosystem. It's patented, right? There it is. Decentralized video transcoding, Livepeer. And they have the little symbol here of their logo. So Multicoin Capital, maybe I'm in the way. I don't want to hide me. Okay, here we go. Livepeer, here it is. Video transcoding. So it's a part of this Web3 stack. If we go down, then we also have this layer 1, the validator stack, and you can see smart contract logic, state transition machine, consensus, shards, and you can see all these are the ETH killers basically. This is the big layer of like who's going to create the security and consensus, right? Solana, Algorand, you got your Ethereum 2.0s and your Polkadots and your blah blah blah. So we'll have to see who comes out on top when it comes to the main blockchain layer. But for video transcoding, Livepeer is there, man. It's a part of the stack, right? And it's a part of the stack, and Nvidia is looking at it. Okay, so I think that is what's causing this. Institutions are they're connecting the dots, right? They're connecting the dots of what graphics cards can do, and then maybe they see the connection between what Livepeer is, because that's what it is, right? Fundamental basis. Livepeer is just GPUs connected to each other via high bandwidth internet. I mean, that's what it is. Now we can say it does video transcoding, we can say it does video related tasks, but really, it can do anything that a NVIDIA GPU can do. or really any ASIC or chip that has the ability to create a function, it can do that, right, through the Livepeer network. But then it also, because then you can say, well, CPUs already do that through the public internet. Yes, but there's no payment structure integrated with them. If you want to use someone else's CPU, you have to pay them through a third-party service like PayPal, trust that they have it, and and use it for however what you want. Even Amazon, there's a pay-per-use scheme, I'm sure, but the payments are through credit card and they control everything. But imagine you can put your payments through a decentralized ecosystem of these networks and pay per frame that gets transcoded, AI'd, rendered, and submitted back the results to do exactly what Nvidia is talking about, right? So I think they've connected the dots and put those together. So I think that's interesting. I think that's the run up in price. I'm just gonna go back and do some more Q&A, see what the comments are saying. Website says most of the profits go to the users, not to Google, for example. I'm thinking that's what you meant to say for decentralized YouTube. Yes, basic attention token is probably going to fix that problem. They do like decentralized advertising that just can be integrated with just about anything, right? 2 billion whole float munched on today. Deep pockets. Yes, I think there's some deep pockets coming into these types of things. Glad I woke up early this morning, put 5K in, made a 2K profit, holding this long-term, great token to have. I agree. I mean, I'm biased, but I think overall, if you were going to go into a token that was speculative and that was on the second page of CoinMarketCap, I think Livepeer is one of those ones where you can get the asymmetric upside, but without the risk of a pump and dump. We know that Livepeer is not a pump and dump. We know that institutions are buying it. We know that it's on big exchanges with lots of liquidity. It has the ability to not only rise in price, but keep that layer, that level of price. I want to quickly talk about that too. Last time Livepeer bumped up, okay, this was, by the way, let's put two and two together. This was the Grayscale announcement, right? So right here, it was the 10th of March, they announced the Livepeer Trust, $4.80, okay? A week later, we're sitting at, $27, even peaking up to the last all-time high, which was about $36. It actually, I think, hit about 44 within about, what is that, 3 weeks, right? So last time institution touched this, made an announcement of any kind, and it went up already 10x, right? So, and that was Grayscale alone, right? So, yeah, I just, I think that's interesting. I think it's just long-term to have. I think it's good long-term to have, but you have to think 5 years out. Like, if you're looking for short-term gain, you can definitely do that with Livepeer. You can definitely sit here and trade it from 50 to 100 to maybe 200. You can definitely do that, but like long term, and we might go through a bear market. You might come through, Livepeer might sit back down to $10. Who knows? But what you're gonna have happen is in 5 years, when all the dust has settled, you're gonna be left with Livepeer still getting better, still improving, and then you're gonna be here for the next run up when the Web3 ecosystem really grabs on. Okay, which brings me to my next point, which was the last point of this video I wanted to make, which was all about timing. Okay, so I'm going to answer a couple more questions here. Dude, if it's Grayscale, that's huge. Yes, it could be. They've done it once, they might do it again, right? So awesome. Well, you helped me too much and help improve my English. Thank you so much. Hey, if I can help your English, thanks for watching, man. Just make sure you leave a comment and subscribe, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Winklevoss, Netflix. Yeah, the Winklevoss twins, they do Gemini, so they could be the reason behind this. My English is not perfect, but I understand everything. I'm glad you understand everything. People have said that they like watching these videos. If you do like watching the video, thank you so much. Please make sure you leave a like and a subscribe. I am kind of trying to grow the channel just because I want people to actually see what Livepeer is about, and it helps with the algorithm to make sure that it hits people's dashboards. But as for like trying to be all gimmicky and gamey with getting new subs, I mean, I'm at 150 subs, so that's not very much. Your sub means a lot to me right now. So if you want to subscribe, please do. Share it with a friend. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. So I do appreciate it. It helps with the algorithm. Grayscale created the first digital ETFs ever. Yes. Yes, they did. And I'm going to move me to this side just so I can see the comments with you guys. That's huge. Wow. Just put in another 3K at 73. Holding long term, so much potential. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be buying at 73K, just understand that it can go down. But like, don't worry about it. I would stake your tokens. There's lots of great orchestrators. Stake your tokens. The unbonding period, 7 days. So like, if you are scared and want to get out, 1 week is not too bad. And you can, hold on to it. Although if you only have 3K tokens, like 3K in tokens, staking is going to be, until layer 2 comes out, it might not be very profitable. Yeah. Consider staking with an orchestrator. Yeah, that's right. Theta is 8 billion. So Livepeer will be worth 4x minimum to start. Yeah. So Livepeer can definitely pump right up to that $8 billion market. I mean, why wouldn't it? It totally could, right? So check that out. I can't believe LPT has pumped so much. Lisherus, hey, thanks for joining, Lish. Yes, it has been crazy. The last 24 hours has been pretty nuts. So video is every second NFT created. Sounds like if NFT screenshot single image worth $1 trillion, how much for moving pictures? Exactly, KJ. KJV expose all. Okay, if you think about it, you can take a screenshot of a JPEG, sell it for $1 million. They're trying to do video NFTs. They already kind of do it. The NBA does it. The NBA does this like video NFT thing. But what's key is, the NBA, they got their own cameras, they got their own copyright, it's all patented. But for me, the way I see the NFTs working is, you're watching esports, and that, you ever watch that one game-winning headshot, game-winning play on League of Legends, famous dragon kill on World of Warcraft? These games have these really famous moments that really can't be replicated, right? You can't assume they're going to come. They're going to be random. And if it's being live streamed through Livepeer, then it's authentically in the decentralized ecosystem, right? So it's not just someone's camera, but if it's through Livepeer, there's a hash with it. There's a hash, and it goes into a decentralized server for saving. And then you can sell that NFT because it comes authentically from Livepeer. And if anyone wants to argue that they have the authentic version, they can't, because it's saved into the Web3 from the Web3 standpoint, right? So the NFTs, you're going to have actual ownership of those original live streams from the beginning, right? So the ownership of live NFT content is really important, and that's what Livepeer can help solve that problem, right? So it's interesting. Yeah, Livepeer says it. Stake, yes, stake, as in, don't stake your tokens, but have a steak from, cook up your steak, right? That's too funny. Right, he says. Yeah, so, okay. I'm going to end on one last note. We have been live streaming for 1 hour and 4 minutes. If you've been watching, I really do appreciate you being here. Lishra says, as far as NFTs, I think Ekami's argument, reality NFTs are pretty cool tech demonstration, not to mention they have Marvel partnership. Yes. Whatever you just said. Yes, I agree. Yes. There you go. Cool. The last thing I want to talk about, because we talked about Multicoin, I have all these tabs open. Obviously, you go check out the Livepeer Academy if you want to learn how to do video mining. You can check it out here. Okay, the last thing I'm going to talk about. If you are new to Livepeer, this may or may not make sense. This is kind of for the techies. This is for the Papa Bears of the world. This is for, and shout out to Papa Bear, who's an orchestrator with Livepeer, awesome guy. But this, and I guess who really got me onto this was Striker, who runs the orchestrator, Sundria. I think that's how you say it. But this is the really interesting. Okay, this is the, what did he call it? The argument for ASIC transcoding chips in the world, basically in the world. I mean, whether we can use it for Livepeer, that's possible. But here's another company that's talking about ASIC chips that they want to produce, okay? And it just does transcoding, video transcoding, so nothing more. It can do the AI recognition stuff, but it can't do, like, it doesn't have all the CUDA cores and all the other stuff. I believe that's, you know what, I can take that back. I don't know if it has CUDA cores, but it can't do all the other stuff that a Nvidia graphics card can do. This is just video transcoding. And this is their white paper. Okay, so let's go through it together because there's a couple points I wanna highlight. First of all, this is their whole thing. So this is their ASIC. This is the chip they want to create. This is the best GPU. So this is comparing it to Nvidia, and then software transcoding. So as you can see, there's like this annual cost for 1,000 streams. They have an ASIC that can do it for 52,000. Nvidia GPUs would be $110,000, and software using Intel would be $580,000. So they're right away off the bat telling you that these chips can transcode at a cheaper price. And then there's a carbon footprint, right? So 11 tons of CO versus 41 versus, right? And then density. And so they have this whole thing that they want to mass produce these ASIC chips. But what was interesting, and whether the ASIC chips are the way to go, who knows, right? That's what Bitcoin did, and they seem to be doing just fine, so it works. But for Livepeer specifically, they've done a ton of research, okay? And if you're not bullish on Livepeer already, or you know what, maybe you're not even just bullish on Livepeer, but maybe you don't know about the future of video. Maybe you don't understand that, like, maybe like this live stream here isn't convincing you enough that this is the future. Or maybe the pandemic just hasn't really clicked in to tell you that Zoom is the future. Or the fact that Facebook has changed their company to Meta to explain that it's the metaverse, right? So they've just done a little bit of research, okay, just a little bit. And in 2015, they've identified that YouTube and Netflix were the most video on demand. Okay, and it did. They have actual amounts here. I don't know if I can see it. So 2015, 2 video on demand. In 2020, we have again more services, right? So we got YouTube, Netflix, Twitch, Facebook, TikTok, Zoom, Instagram Live, all these things. We got 4 million concurrent sessions in HQ streams, high quality, I guess, right? So in 1080p, which is high definition, we have 4 million concurrent streams in 2020. They're looking at in 2025, so we're already in 2021. 2022 is a month away, basically. They're looking at greater than 40 million concurrent streams. So 10x rise in concurrent streams for live streaming services. And they're going to include things like Xbox Live, iOS, Android, okay, all these kind of things, right? But then on top of that, you're going to have things like 4K, which is Ultra HD, right? So not just HD, but Ultra HD. So they suspect that in the next, from 2020 to 2025, they are going to have a 10x or more increase in the amount of concurrent sessions that need video transcoding, right? Worldwide. Okay, interesting. Whether they're true or not, I mean, they've done some research, and this is their whole thing. They talk about 4G wireless and how it's going to do that. They talk about the different services, right? So you have like smartphones that can do 4K, and social video, visual presence, game streaming, mobile desktop app streaming. So they've come up with use cases for all this, right? Again, big white paper worth checking out. And then they have this idea of this cloud edge architecture, right? So you have like today's growing, which is like you have mega scale social, mega scale meetings, like Zoom, Facebook, these things. And then you have emerging, which is up the triangle, right? So visual presence, mobile app streaming, game streaming, right? So game streaming is more intense than social media because it's more constant and requires more, more real time, right? And but then what you have is you have up here, and these are in milliseconds. So you have 200 milliseconds works well for like social media. You need less than 150 milliseconds for like game streaming, these kind of things. But what they're doing, which is the whole purpose of Livepeer, potentially, this is their take on it, is that you need to have it sub 20 milliseconds. So you need to have people connected to each other in video less than 20 milliseconds away, right? Or I guess in latency, right? Because this gives you the ability to have cloud AI virtual agents, powerful wearables, virtual reality, and augmented reality, right? And so what they see, which is this is a nice visualization of how Livepeer would work into this. Okay, I'm going to zoom in just a bit more. So this gives you an idea of how they see the whole video infrastructure, right? So what you have here is right now we have global data. These are your cloud storages, right? And then you have these interactive applications here, okay? And you have this, we want to minimize upstream cloud bandwidth. We want to minimize the bandwidth having to go all the way back to a data center, right? So right now, this is what we're doing usually. We're sending our data all the way to the data center. It takes 100 milliseconds, and then we send it all the way back to our end user, the computer. It takes 100 milliseconds, right? But then we want to have, so that this is kind of how it currently works. What we want to do is add this extra layer. And this is what's called the encoding video layer, okay? And this right here, you could literally just put the word Livepeer right over this, okay? These are these little stations, okay, that are like local data centers in your town, right? So if you're in, Nevada and you're in Las Vegas, Vegas is a big town, but it's not necessarily a data hub, right? The nearest data hub will be Los Angeles. But what you can do is have these little hubs in each regions of Las Vegas, and they're communicating with each other. And so we don't have to go all the way to a data center to get video encoding done, right? So you have the user experience, and if you're on your app, you're on your iPhone or you're on your desktop, it'll go to the nearest tower for encoding and then send it back, right? Or send it to the nearest user where you are located. So you can do augmented reality with your neighbor, and it doesn't have to go across the continent to get to hit the data center to send back, because they won't be real time, right? So this spread out network of micro data centers and micro transcoding units spread around the world. Funny enough, that's what Livepeer is, right? It's all these GPUs around the world that are doing this, right? So I want to go down just a little bit more. Huge white paper, it shows you exactly what they're doing and how they plan to do these kinds of things. Really technical stuff. I think there was one more part that I wanted to cover in here. Here it is. This is the last piece. Okay, so you have for 1,000 concurrent sessions, you have this gaming and 3D capable streaming. You have mobile apps and gaming doing 1080, mainstream gaming, right? So mobile gaming is huge, mainstream gaming is huge, but then you're going to have 4K high-end new game console gaming, okay? And Livepeer can do 4K encoding and decoding, right? Because Nvidia, those chips from the CEO, can handle those 4K things. I think I'm on the wrong side. Dang it. I forgot to adjust this. Okay. Well, if you've been watching, then you're probably wondering why I'm just over top of everything. Okay, here we go. I'll just finish off this part. Okay, so I think, let's go back to this. Oh man, my video has been over top of it. No, that's okay. Okay, so you have this 1,000 concurrent users, gaming, and you have this high-end 4K. But what's interesting about the 4K, okay, let's say you have 1,000 users doing mobile gaming at 1080p, right? The encoding server is 52,000. The application server is 210,000, right? So you have $265 per concurrent user, right? Just in infrastructure costs, right? Well, as soon as you get up to mainstream gaming, right, this application server increases a lot. So it's $1,000 per concurrent server, concurrent user. And here's the kicker: Ultra 4K, which is like definitely the way the world is going, right? This is just technology growing, advancing, getting better. Everyone's going to be doing Ultra 4K, right? You have a total cost of $4,600 per concurrent user in hardware costs, right? That could be absorbed into Livepeer as in general, and then transcoded, and this cost not only be brought down, but then distributed, not in just some conglomerate that has control and price gouging opportunities, but rather through a global network of micro nodes around the world that can do it faster, cheaper, and more scalable, right? So that is just some more arguments to like the use case of Livepeer, but I just want to come back to this whole point of like this video. If you haven't checked it out, just like go to the Nvidia YouTube page, go to the Nvidia thing. They've got a whole weekend stuff of going on, and it's all Nvidia related. So it's probably maybe the reason for this run up, you know. And you can see there's a bit of resistance here at $75 as I'm doing this live stream. So it's interesting. I'll do a couple more questions and then probably just end the live stream. So a couple things. Here we go. Oh yeah, that is the white paper you showed me. So cool. Yes, yeah, it is. I think it's a really interesting white paper worth checking out for sure if you're into video tech in general. It's just a great white paper to read. It just explains like the problems. It's really, they really are. It's really interesting. Let's see, what else? Stay at home video game platforms and streaming at stated 80% of bandwidth. So in general is just 80% of the bandwidth. Google Winklevoss Livepeer, Twitter hits.